Hello and welcome to the Advent of Automation, your personal 20-day guide to streamlining your BI workflow. This is day 19 of our learning journey, and today we are going to explore ways to monitor and enhance the performance of Power Automate flows. While we will cover some great tips and tricks, I also share my thoughts on good practices I follow when building flows. With that said, let's dive in. Hello and welcome to BI-Lingual Analytics. My name is Roland and I'm here to guide you through the world of data, analytics and automation. If this is your first time around here, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons so you won't miss any of my tutorials. It means a lot to me and helps others to find content like this. During this Advent of Automation series, we've covered a lot about Power Automate, from templates and trigger conditions to setting up parallel branches and reconnecting them. All these steps help to translate business processes into automation ideas, streamlining workflows and allowing users to focus on creating more business value. On the flip side, as we add more complexity to our flows, they can potentially become slower, more prone to failure, or too complex to manage. That's where the following features and tricks can help us understand how to optimize flow execution. But enough of me talking, let's head over to Power Automate. There are some really useful performance monitoring insights built into Power Automate's UI. One of these is the run history, which is available as soon as you open a flow. Let me use the latest automation I created for yesterday's tutorial on Power BI semantic model data validation as an example. At the bottom of the flow's front page, you will find the run history section. By default, only 28 days worth of history is available. However, you can extend this with a workaround. I plan to cover this in a future tutorial, as it's a bit more advanced for this series. In the run history, you will see start dates and times, duration, and whether the flow succeeded or failed. You can also add more columns like username and email, which is particularly helpful when multiple users can trigger the flow. For this demo, I switched to another flow AI-generated insights, which has both failures and successes. It's great to see a visual clue about the status of each flow run. From here, you can click into a run and check how long each step took. For instance, in this flow, waiting for an approval took the longest, just over 30 minutes. However, if you notice actions that don't require human interaction taking longer than a few seconds, those are the ones to optimize first. A common question is, how can I shorten run times? One method is parallel branching, which allows actions to run simultaneously within a single flow. For example, when querying large datasets from Power BI, instead of using a single API call, split it into smaller sections. This reduces both runtime and memory usage while improving flow reliability. For certain triggers, you can adjust how often Power Automate checks if conditions are met. My advice, don't abuse this feature. If you're not expecting frequent updates, like emails or SharePoint file creations, stick with the default frequency, or even reduce that to only check once an hour or once a day. Remember, just because you can, doesn't mean you should. Another optimization step is to incorporate built-in error handling logic into Power Automate. For example, on day 12 we discussed using conditions to handle the initial failure of a Power BI data flow refresh more gracefully. Instead of immediately requiring human intervention when the data flow refresh fails, you can delay the next step and attempt to rerun the refresh. Alternatively, you can add actions that only execute when the previous step fails. This can be configured under Settings using the Run After feature. By selecting the Has Failed option, a dotted line appears in the flow, visually indicating that the team's action, or any subsequent actions, will only run if the preceding step fails. Having robust error handling and retry policies within your flows is widely accepted as a good practice. To me, these error handling options are all about minimizing reliance on human intervention during the first or even the first few errors. By keeping the flow automated rather than terminating it, you can ensure a much smoother and more reliable execution. Additionally, creating clear and well-worded error messages is a must for troubleshooting. These messages can pinpoint exactly which action failed, making it easier to identify and resolve issues. In some of the recent flows we've covered in the series, we started using variables and the compose action. While these are powerful tools, I strongly recommend using them wisely. They can consume a significant amount of memory in Power Automate, potentially reducing the flow's efficiency. In certain cases, you can optimize performance by directly referencing previous steps, using dynamic content, and slightly adjusting the automation logic. I know, it's easier said than done. But as flows like my data validation automation or the AI insight generation flow grow more complex, they can become slow and inefficient. That's why it's a good idea to review and adjust them often. Speaking of these two flows, I've noticed that API calls, such as querying data from Power BI or using ChatGPT's API to process data, can significantly impact runtimes. To mitigate this, always ensure you are only using the data you need in those API calls. Excessive or unnecessary calls can lead to throttling and degrade performance. I recommend reviewing your flows regularly. Even a quick look at the run history once a month can help you catch issues early, like slower runtimes or failures, before they escalate. For an overall view of your flow's health, check out the Automation Center in Power Automate. It provides detailed insights into all your activities. And with that, we've covered everything I planned for this demo. I hope you enjoyed this series, and by the end of December, or whenever you complete the learning, you will have some great automation ideas to enhance your BI workflow. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section below, and I do my best to answer them quickly. Thanks for staying till the end. I hope you learned something new today. If you did, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Also, check out these tutorials to take your data, analytics, and automation journey to the next level. Until the next one, see ya!